So, welcome back to the Raising Our Vibration podcast, where we explore higher consciousness through spiritual practice. And today, Stephen and I are going to talk about and guide a practice that relates to the inner secret, interoception, this development of this inner felt sense, and mental emotional health. And this was prompted by a couple things. One was I was reading a call for research papers from the NCCIH, so the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health here in the US, which is a division of NIH, the National Institutes of Health. And they put out this call for papers for research projects, actually, from 2021 to 2025 for interoceptive research related to mental emotional health, saying basically they put out an initiative and said, hey, this is really important. We need a lot more research here. And that kind of got me excited because that's what we're all about in Stephen and I in teaching subtle energy meditation, right? In the foundation of that is interoception and mindfulness. And that's exactly what they're wanting to put more research into. Of course, we have a lot of anecdotal and a lot of personal experience with this and with our students in meditation. So what I thought I'd do is I'd read from one of the research articles that probably prompted this call for research proposals. And this was a study or research paper in 2018, I believe, and it appears in Frontiers in Psychology. And I'm going to go ahead and read through, in the more complex language that it's in, and then we're going to talk about simplify it into real practical and experiential language and do a practice. So this research paper is called Facilitating Adaptive Emotion Processing and Somatic Reappraisal via Sustained Mindful Interoceptive Attention. So mindful interoceptive attention. That's what we're all about. That's what got us so excited about this research paper. So let me just read a little bit from this and then we'll talk about it. So it begins, emotions are by nature embodied. The brain has evolved to quickly assess the emotional significance of stimuli and output signals to the body's viscera and periphery to aid adaptive responses. Emotions include both implicit bodily, so interoceptive, and explicit narrative processes, so how we explain what's happening. So we feel something in the body, and then we have a cognitive process that narrates, oh, what's that about? Is that important? And, relates to it in a certain way. So the bridge between implicit body sensations and explicit narratives lies in cultivating mindful awareness of bodily sensations associated with emotions. So this process brings subjective awareness to notice inner body experience or interoceptive awareness that is often outside of conscious awareness. So that's one thing that we are frequently talking about, is that we don't often tune in to these inner signals. We're so focused on the world out here and all the tasks we have to do, on external information processing or on what's going on in our thinking mind, that we don't pay attention to these inner body experiences or interoceptive awareness. So they remain outside of conscious awareness. So they go on to say, interoceptive signals are linked to well-being appraisals. So we tune in when we feel something on the inside, then how we interpret it according to what does that mean for my well-being? Is that a good thing? Is that not a good thing? Should I be afraid of that? Should I welcome that? Should I go into that? Should I push that away? So we make an appraisal of what we are feeling in a sensory way. So interoception refers to the process by which the nervous system senses, interprets, and then integrates signals originating from within the body, providing a moment-by-moment mapping of the body's internal landscape across both conscious and unconscious levels. So interoceptive awareness is the internal sensory information that reaches conscious perception. It may require a little digging in or tuning in for that to happen, but it is internal information that is accessible to conscious perception, and thus allows for a subjective sense of the physiological condition of the body, such as a heartbeat or respiration or satiety, and the autonomic nervous system sensations related to emotions. Okay. So the act of focusing present moment attention on internal sensory experience is the basic process of interoceptive awareness and is as such an integral component of mindfulness practice. Mindfulness-based interventions train qualities of interoceptive awareness that aid focused, sustained, and non-judgmental attention to regions of the body. This allows more internal sensory information to enter conscious awareness. And when it's sustained over time, then we are able to kind of diffuse the emotional reactivity of how we might initially react to what we're feeling. Okay. So when mindful attention is brought to interoceptive experience, somatic reappraisal may be engaged by learning to reinterpret internal bodily sensations with less judgment and more acceptance, and by experiencing shifts in interoceptive experience. So mindful interoceptive awareness can help decouple maladaptive sensory meaning associations. So emotions such as, what's going on? Am I okay? Is this going to last forever? You know, all those ways that we might initially interpret this inner sensory experience, and provide the opportunity for new associations to be made. Mindful attention or mindfulness may be understood as qualities of attention that are intentional, involve sustained present moment awareness, and include attitudinal qualities of non-judgment, curiosity, openness, and self-compassion. And then finally, mindfulness applied to bodily sensory experiences associated with emotional experiences may open up an experiential space where internal sensory experiences and associated meanings become more granular, vivid, and malleable to new interpretation. In this framework, we describe how mindfulness can cultivate insight, which in this context is defined as creating new adaptive interpretations arising from and informed by bodily sensory information. So, and that's what they call somatic reappraisal. Okay, so we learn to, not only do we learn, we cultivate this inner felt sense, the ability to tune into these sensations, but we approach them with mindfulness so that, you know, if something comes up, say you have pain in your heart or stomach ache or headache or whatever, if your initial reaction is one of fear or anxiousness or pushing it away or wanting to distract yourself from it, then by sitting with it mindfully, something happens, a shift happens to where you allow the experience to be there, you allow it to inform you, you are present with it, and it starts to soften. That emotional edge is taken off of it. And as you sit with it, you view it, like Stephen often says, as a good friend, right? And we were teaching a meditation class last night for humanities team, and at the end, somebody, asked a question about, well, what do I do when a negative thought comes up? Okay, what do I, I find that I'm noticing it. He said, I'm noticing it sooner and sooner, but it still kind of takes me over. So that's where this whole process of tuning into the felt sense in the body, and then just allowing whatever is present, a negative feeling, a negative thought, just allowing it to be there. And that in itself, just sustaining that in itself, starts to release the tension around it and allow a clarity of response to arise. So I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, Stephen, before we go into our practice.
Well, Kevin, thank you. That was so beautifully read, and also, speaks to some really basic, important points for everybody listening. So thank you, everybody, always for joining us. What Kevin was referring to, and also what we have experienced in a lot of the groups that we guide, and particularly as Kevin mentioned with humanities team when we were fielding and answering a number of questions, this somatic reappraisal, that, and what exactly does that mean? So, somatic meaning that you're actually feeling within what is happening, and that you're able to apply some kind of, as was mentioned in the research, some sort of granular, malleable appraisal. You actually genuinely get down to understanding these good friends that we often term afflictions or obstructive emotions, that they are open to a new interpretation. It's that insight that's so crucial. So if you consider it, for a moment, and Kevin's been pointing to this again and again, if you consider that you can bring a sense of the self-compassion to whatever's present, then how you appraise whatever's happening, going on, becomes very important. So just consider it for a moment a problem that you've been having, maybe trouble with somebody, or maybe some kind of negative feeling you have towards anything that's happening in the world, piece of news that you've heard about. Don't make it too tough. And I'll go into this practice in a minute. Just notice how you relate or react to them. We tend to just react, right? We have some negative thought. We hear a news item, we say, "Oh, that's terrible. I can't stand what's going on in the world. I don't want this," and we push it away, right? We either think that's just the most horrible piece of thing. I don't want that as part of my life. I don't want to be around people like that. So we tend to be very judgmental, right? Now, in fact, at that point, all we're really hurting is ourselves, because all that negative judgment is coming around something that potentially we might have heard from friends, or we might have heard from social media, on the news, or whatever it happens to be. So when we do that without any thinking, we don't have any kind of insight around it. We don't have any sense of embodying it, or even understanding it, or developing any kind of gentleness or softness or compassion towards it. And we certainly don't have a new adaptive interpretation. In fact, I'm sure you're all willing to bet that you have pretty much the same reaction to the same political parties, or the same political rhetoric, speeches that go on around the world, or the same situation, whether it be a war or a famine or a climate challenge. We tend to have these same habitual reactions. So nothing to do with the news item itself. It's to do with your reaction to the way that you bring wisdom or self-compassion or insight to anything. So there is no real new adaptive interpretation at all.
Right. We just repeat the same old responses, because instead of owning them, right, there are actions, are responses. Instead of owning them as our own, we push them out there and say, no, I don't want that, and those people are causing that, and that's a problem. And we just keep looking at it that way, right?
Exactly. And that's pretty much what that wonderful guest on our course, or on our in the guidance that we're giving, was asking. He said that he had this thought that just kept coming back, no matter how much he was aware of it, but he couldn't stop it. And then once it grabbed hold,
You didn't like it.
Didn't like
You
it
wanted
at all.
to just get rid of it, right? Which,
Yeah.
of course, that's our natural response, right?
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. You think of any afflictive emotion, any challenging thought, any difficulty you have with a relative or somebody at work, or they tend to come up, and they keep coming up, right? We kind of notice, oh, I'm having that same thought. I've got to go to work today, and I've got to face that same person, and the same thing comes up. We have the same aversion to that, and actually, what it is the feeling has arisen, and we've gone into it feels uncomfortable, and we haven't recognized that, because that's part of us. That's not separate from us, and that feeling has then given rise to a whole series of thoughts. That person is like this, I'm like this, we relate like this, and it's very, very uncomfortable. So it's that somatic reappraisal means that you actually go back in and you learn to embrace that feeling. Now, that's not easy. And this was another thing Kevin mentioned actually when we were doing this course and guiding, is that if you don't have a practice where you're revisiting this somatic appraisal, where you're going into your body feelings and saying, oh, okay, let's get to know that like a friend, as we were mentioning, then you're going to have no system of reappraising. There's nothing that you don't actually bring a recognition or awareness to the feeling when it comes. And a bit like what that gentleman said, because you don't recognize it, then by the time you do, it's gone through the whole thing of grabbing hold of your body, all the emotions have come up, they've triggered thoughts, and then you're way at the back end of your thoughts, judging them, saying, oh no, not again. I don't want to be thinking about my work colleague like that, or I don't even want to be thinking about work at all at this moment. I'm watching a movie, or I'm talking to my partner, or whatever it happens to be, and all of this other process is happening within. So it speaks to that insight. When that happens, that's actually the greatest opportunity, because then it's really triggering you. So
right. So that's another great insight, is that these moments of discomfort are our moments of opportunity and possibility for transformation, right?
Exactly. So you want to spend time with them. As Kevin was mentioning in our course, you want to actually have a routine, a time of your day when you can be quiet, just like you're being with us now, and where you can bring to mind and heart some of these practices. So, and especially some of the negative feelings that you might be having to deal with, and actually learn how to bring some gentleness and softening and self-compassion to them. And that might feel, I remember I spoke to a number of people, and then I was talking to my wife about a social situation she was facing with, and we were talking about it, and she said, I don't want to bring up that. She said, it feels awful. Yeah, I said, it's not actually the social situation, because that's what you think. Oh, it's the social situation. In fact, the emotion's yours. The emotion that you're feeling so uncomfortable about is actually your own habitual, old somatic way of reappraising things. And in fact, what it is generally that emotion comes up, you go, oh, I don't want to feel like that. And you have a drink, or you go out and party, or you do something to get away from that feeling without actually ever making friends with it. So that's really crucial. Those moments when that comes up are exactly the moments you want to know and understand and develop some insight. And also, in a sense, have a practice that allows you to work with it. So this is what Kevin and I are going to do right now. Kevin's going to guide you into interoception of the body, because that's actually the key. Is you need to know how to interocept, if we could coin a word. You need to know how to go inwards, and then you need to know how to reappraise. In other words, bring up something gently enough that you can deal with it, and not too strongly so that it overwhelms. and then just bring a gentle sense of allowing an openness to it. So we're going to do this practice for you now. So Kevin's going to do the interoceptive part, and I'll just do the mindfulness of a negative thought part.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. So this is something that you might consider doing first thing in the morning, because I know a lot of people will wake up with some sort of anxiousness about the day, or the stress of the day is like upon you right when you wake up in the morning. So first thing in the morning is a wonderful time for this practice, just to allow that to diffuse and rest in a state of grounded presence and openness and clarity, and go forth into your day from that space. So let's go into this interoception and mindfulness now. So we'll begin with our interoceptive cues. So sit comfortably upright, have your feet firmly on the ground, and rest your hands, palms cupped in your lap, with the tips of your thumbs touching lightly. This is a posture of grounded presence and soft openness in your hands. And lightly close your eyes. So let's begin in our feet, and take a moment to press your feet down into the ground. Maybe wiggle your toes a little bit. Just awaken sensory awareness, awaken interoceptive awareness of the sensations in your feet. And then allow your feet and your toes to soften and relax, as if they're melting down into the ground. Enjoy the feeling of feeling the ground underneath you, the earth supporting you in this present moment. Allow that feeling of presence to flow up through your legs and your hips and into your lower abdomen. So feel the presence, the sense of grounded aliveness in your legs and your hips, your lower abdomen. And then connected to that, feel your hands in your lap. They're just resting in that grounded presence of your legs and feet. And soften, open, and relax your hands. Feel that soft, open space in your palms. As your hands and fingers relax, allow your arms and your shoulders to relax down. And releasing any tension in your shoulders and your neck. And then imagine a string attached to the top of your head, drawing your spine gently upright. Giving you a feeling of vertical spaciousness and awakened clarity, rising up through the core of your body, through your spine, and through to the top of your head. So feel that extension of your whole spine from your tailbone right up through to the top of your head. Notice how you feel as you sit more upright. Feel more awake and alert, more intentional. more empowered. Tuck your chin just slightly to lengthen the back of your neck. Rest your tongue to the roof of your mouth with the tip of your tongue on the gum line behind your upper front teeth. And soften and relax your tongue here. And relax your jaw. And smile, a subtle smile. Just enjoying this moment to relax and let go. Be present in your body. Feel your body as a whole from the inside. Feel this entire space inside your skin. And simply be open to any sensations that are present here inside your body. Notice how your mind is quiet, the body's relaxing, and you're open to your inner experience. Just present with your inner experience. It's a nice relief. Simply be present. And feel your inner body. And now Stephen will guide us in the second part of this practice.
So as Kevin's guided you into this inner body presence, just simply being present with whatever arises in your body, we're now going to bring this same awareness, this non-judgmental curiosity to what's happening in our mind. Just notice what is happening in your mind, any thoughts or perceptions that arise, any impressions. Just allow yourself to be this field of awareness within which these thoughts arise just for a few moments. So you're just staying connected to this presence, this natural resting back. You might even feel like you're resting back. You're this vast ocean of awareness as thoughts arise. So just notice them without any judgment. They just rise like waves in the ocean, dissolve back. You don't need to make anything happen. You're just noticing what's present, just as Kevin guided you to be present with the body sensations. Here now, you're just staying connected to awareness and notice what is happening in your mind. So here, you just need to recognize what's present and rest. Doesn't matter what the thoughts are. Just rest back, open, recognize what's present, and rest. Allow yourself to bring a neutral thought to mind. So this is our simple practice, just being present with whatever arises. So this could be food you had for breakfast. That's one of my favorite ones. Just simply bring a thought of whatever food you had this morning. or sometime during your day. Just notice what arises in terms of thought. Maybe you can see it or hear it as you eat it or feel it or smell it or taste it. So there's a sensory connection that you make. It's just open. You're just noticing what's happening. Allowing yourself to remain, to rest as this awareness. While this thought of, this neutral thought of your breakfast or lunch is present. Again, it arises for a while, it abides a little while, and then it dissolves back. So you're just recognizing that thought, that perception, and maybe any feelings that go with it. And then equally bring up a thought of somebody you love, or a pet you're really devoted to, a grandparent you really love, maybe a friend you really feel that deep warmth, connection to. Again, just notice what thoughts arise. Notice how this feeling of love for somebody arises as thoughts. You might have images of that friend. Might be a particular experience that you've had that arises. Just notice what's happening in your mind. Just notice the thoughts arising. Not as objects, just like waves in an ocean. They just come. This beautiful softness and gentleness that you might feel, this loving kindness and care towards this person or this pet. You can feel that, and again, you're just allowing yourself to rest back as this open ocean of awareness while this thought arises and abides a little bit and then dissolves. And then allow a thought of maybe something that's not quite so comfortable to arise within this gentle awareness. So this could be maybe something you've said in the past day or two to a friend or a colleague or a partner that perhaps wasn't so comfortable. Or maybe you would rather have not said it. Not something too strong, so not something overwhelming, just something that you can pay a little attention to, that you can bring this awareness, this gentleness and softness and compassionate awareness to. Just notice how that happens in your mind. Again, there's no object here. You're not judging the thought. You're just letting it arise like a wave in the ocean and abide for a while. Just curious, non-judgmental, open, a bit like a friend. This is a friend you mightn't have seen for a while, or maybe you've pushed away. So here you're just allowing that friend, that thought, some space. And it's amazing, just as Kevin was saying, what a relief it is sometimes to give something that we've usually pushed away a little bit of space, a little bit of freedom to play, to be open, to develop insight, to somatically reappraise. So you're just revisiting that, but from this gentle awareness, this compassionate, kind openness. Again, there's nothing you need to do here. Just simply stay connected, rest as that ocean of gentle, compassionate awareness, and just recognize what's happening and rest back. Just be open. Just open up. and give that negative thought a little space.
And notice how it feels in your body.
There's this beautiful sense of being aware somatically, being aware of the feeling, and being open to that. So here you're simply being open. This is perhaps a new way of reappraising what's happening in your body. We're simply being open to what we feel in the body and to what we think, and simply resting in this open awareness and allowing those feelings, those thoughts to come and go, non-judgmentally, just allowing them to happen, to be open without any judgment or expectation, just simply recognizing that all of this is a flow of awareness. And we're being open. We're simply being open and clear and allowing the thoughts and the feelings to happen within this limitless openness. Just that. So now with this openness, gently open your eyes. We're bringing the same openness, the same non-judgmental curiosity to what we see. Just simply being open to everything that we see around us in the same way that we were open to our feelings in the body and our thoughts in the mind. We're just open. There's a freshness, as Kevin mentioned, there's a sense of just relief to be so open. You're not focusing or concentrating on anything, you're just relaxing openly as this spacious awareness, just making space, just allowing space. So as we go about our day, from time to time, you can bring this gentle, kind, compassionate awareness, this somatic, gentle appraisal, this somatic feeling, being this awareness and staying connected to this awareness of what's happening in your body, in your mind, non-judgmentally, curiously, from time to time. Just, it only takes a few seconds every day, every moment that you want to bring this gentle awareness. Just as Kevin said, you can choose a simple body awareness like your feet, your hands, or the clarity in your spine. So you can just do something simple like check in with your hands, feel the openness in your hands. So then you're tuning into this gentle appraisal of what's present in your body, and then allowing your attention to note what's happening in your mind. Again, without any judgment, just being open. It is such a simple practice to bring openness and recognize that everything happens within this open field of awareness. Everything, what you feel in your body and what you think. So when you rest as this open awareness, then you simply allow experience, life, to flow through you without any judgment, without expectation. Just simply allowing everything to happen within awareness. So Kevin, thank you for your always beautiful guidance, and thank you everybody for your beautiful awareness. Because in essence, that's what we're doing together. We're curiously, non-judgmentally exploring this reappraisal or this revisiting of the way that we somatically or through our feelings experience life. So Kevin, thank you. Always.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for that beautiful guidance. And thank you all for your practice, for participating here with us. And so how to take this into your life? It's really, you can use this anytime you start to feel discomfort. So notice your initial reaction to try to push that away, and instead turn inwards, own that discomfort, feel it in your body, and relate to it with acceptance and self-compassion. And just notice what happens as you do that again and again. And we highly recommend you do this first thing in the morning, right when you get up, right, with whatever feelings are present when you get up, that you just take a moment to tune into the visceral somatic sense of feeling in your body, and just be accepting and welcoming of whatever feelings are present, and just stay with them until that peace and clarity opens them up. And it's a wonderful way to start your day. So if you'd like more information on meditation and awareness practices like this, including our subtle energy meditation course, which will be beginning very soon, registration is open for that. You can visit us at raisingourvibration.net. Until next time, bye for now.